Do you want to?
Evening and welcome to the Resilient Living podcast. I am Jared Wilson and joined by my friend and co-host Ryan Steva.
Hey, everybody.
Alrighty, it is just now 7 o'clock, so we will wait for people to roll in. And I had this wonderful idea because it's going to segue, I think, beautifully. Books.
Nice.
So these are all books that I, obviously have in the store. So like, the Soil Sciences, great resource. Okay, so this is one I don't sell a lot of. I wish I sold more of because I think it's a phenomenal resource that people, I think it's a little icky, I guess. I don't know. Where there is no dentist, it's just a fantastic resource because if things were to go badly, in whatever way, shape, or form, whether it's a middle of a winter storm or there's a flood separating you from getting to the dentist, having the resource is super, super important, super useful. Same thing with where there is no doctor, stuff happens. Home births, I mean, like there's stuff that happens, like knowing how to do stuff, and then just your overall the encyclopedia of country living. Like I grew up with this one. Everybody should have this on their on their bookshelf.
And get the right one because there's others that are named basically the same thing.
So I actually just had this conversation with a guy. Came in the shop. He's like, "Hey, I'm looking for this one book. I think it was the apothecary book, right?" I'm like, "Okay, let me tell you, you're gonna find a whole bunch of them on, especially eBay. They're fake. Don't do that. They're not real. They can either be bad information or a photocopied, hacked up version of, or like get the real things, right?"
Yep.
And same thing for Encyclopedia Country Living. Honestly, with all these, there was a Navy SEAL, the Bug-In Guide, I think is what he called it.
Okay.
There was just a metric ton of fake ones floating around on Facebook. People like, "Oh, I've got this great book," and it looks very similar, but not quite the same. Yeah, so make sure you get a good book. But as we segue, check the ISBN. Vic, you are just the smartest. Yes, check the ISBN numbers to verify. Yeah, I mean that's like, yeah, definitely do that.
Well, and he doesn't need them anyways because apparently he can do everything with an ice skate like on Castaway.
That's right. So okay, so as my segue, right? Okay, so yes, obviously have books, great resource. But let's say you have all these books and you don't have the time to go through all 50, 60, 150, whatever, however many books you've got. So how can we coalesce this information and make it so that you can search all of these books and get a good result? Enter AI.
Which leads us, to the question: what are y'all talking about today?
That's right.
Yes.
All right. So the idea is offline AI solutions, right? Because there's a lot of online AI solutions. I used them. I mean, the clip art for this video and most of my videos have been AI generated. Some of the prompts are AI generated. It is a good resource. It's a good tool. We don't rely upon it though. We validate and verify things.
Right. Well, and there's so many, I don't want to jump ahead too much, but there's so many problems with cloud-based AI. And so today we want to talk about local AI or offline AI and how you can set up your own AI system, how that solves some of the big problems that you run into and concerns really with some of the cloud-based, it's somebody else's software, somebody else's system, and you're the product, right? Or you're the, so if you're not paying for it and you're not hosting it, like your data is what they're paying for, or what
Yes.
they're getting out of it.
Well, and then now there's legislation in place where all searches done on AI are admissible in court.
Hmm.
So now anything that you're searching on there is you can't revoke it, you can't pull it back, you can't delete it. It's being held ad infinitum to potentially be used to incriminate you in the future. So having an offline system is, I mean, just from a security standpoint for that alone, like, yes, I
Hmm.
definitely. But then you have, um, we'll say they're jaded. They definitely have a bent to them because, they were trained on certain data sets. And so they have a certain leaning to them and they kind of will prioritize certain results over others. And we may not want those certain results.
Yep. Yeah, and there's only so much manipulating you can do to the AI that you're working with.
Yes.
I mean, for example, I wanted to just as it's one of those like metrics that's kind of fun to play with an AI where
Yeah.
I'd ask the different agents like, how do you break into a car? And it'll come
Oh,
back
can't
with,
do that.
oh,
That's
I
illegal.
can't tell you that. And then, you give it a little more, oh, it's my own car on my own property, but I locked the keys in it. It's like, I don't know if I still am not sure. You're like, well, I won't sue you if you
Or
go
like,
through all this stuff and finally it goes, well, here's the most likely ways to be able to
yeah,
open a car door if your keys are locked in it.
right. Yeah. I'm writing a book and in it, the character needs to be able to break in. I want this to be authentic. So help
Right.
me to understand. Yeah. And you can get around a lot of those things. But
Yep.
the nice thing about having a standalone system is you can really force it to only pull data from a very specific amount. So imagine you've got your collection of books. Well, you could have those digital PDFs and feed it those specific PDFs and say, I need information about this. And it will only draw from those, going through its very limited large language model to kick out a result. So
Mhm.
then you're not getting these weird, you know, inconsistent responses, right? Which is one thing that I like. Now, not everybody has like a full on GPU, multi-bay rig. So what do you do? What does Vic do out in the middle of Arizona? So what options do we have? And that's where I really want to make this approachable to people is there are options for you at a small level to have your own AI and be able to feed it whatever information that you specifically want and not have it be jaded in one way or another. Um, so like Ryan, you and I, we had talked about how selling a product basically of having
Mhm.
a small deployable, potentially like solar powered computer that has this baked in AI with all of these PDFs,
Yeah.
which I still would love to do. It's just on a back burner. But I did all the research and I was like, okay, no, this is totally doable. And in the last year and a half, 2 years, Raspberry Pi's pushed out a bunch of AI specific stuff that, I mean, the Raspberry Pis are already really cheap. The
Mhm.
AI specific ones are a little bit more, but they're still very approachable in price. And yeah, you're not going to be running these huge LLMs, um, but you don't need one. You don't
Right.
need it to be able to write a novel. You just need specific data.
Yep.
And
Yeah, to be able to sift through data that you
yes,
give it and that
yep,
you specifically give it, and you may give it some additional prompts to help it get what you need it to, but it's only looking at the things that you're providing to it
right,
rather than, and maybe you even upload Wikipedia to it or something
yeah,
like that, but it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to go to these sources that maybe we don't trust, or maybe it's not going to go out and look at the backyard chicken keepers website about how to deal with X, Y, or Z, where you know they won't cull a chicken that needs to be culled, or
oh yeah, right,
whatever the case may be. We're not polluting our data with all this other unimportant
right.
information.
Right. And that's really kind of what I wanted to drive home is like when you control the data set that it's pulling from, then you control the results. And it's way easier for you to then determine whether the result is accurate.
Mhm.
When you can reverse engineer and go, hey, where did you come up with that information? And you can force it to go, oh, well, in this book on this page, states this. Like, oh, okay, cool. I can grab my book and go, yes, in fact, on that page, it does say that. And that is exactly the information that I needed. I just didn't have the time to go looking for that.
Right.
So, yeah, having that. And so, yeah, like on a really, really small scale, and we're talking the results will definitely take a while, depending on how big your data set is. And that's the other thing is I like having a smaller data set because it makes it doesn't have to go through as many things, and so it's easier for it. So it's not as system intensive. It's not as resource heavy.
Right. Yeah, exactly. If you can reduce the things it's having to go through, you don't need, you know, 10 what 50, 90 GPUs or
Yeah,
whatever it
right.
is
Yeah.
they're buzzing away in some data center. I'm sure they're not using, commercially or easily
Oh,
available
yeah, right.
hardware, but
Yeah, no.
the
They got the
same
good stuff.
idea, right? You don't have 10 of those working away on a rack unit for
Yeah.
10 seconds to give you an answer. You've got one GPU, CPU plugging
APU, yeah,
away at it
whatever.
for,
Yeah.
yeah, to give you what you need. And it's going to take longer, but maybe you can sit and wait, and maybe that's not a big deal.
Yeah. Well, and okay, so that becomes an incredible asset to you. So let's say it's going to take a while. So you can set it and forget it. And
Mhm.
you don't have to worry about it timing out, your internet going down, your power going down because maybe it's a standalone system that is, solar powered or whatever. You're not tied to that network. You're not tied to let's say you have a subscription and they change the terms and conditions. Like I've been paying for this service, and now all of a sudden, now I can't use the service I was paying for because they changed the terms and conditions.
Yeah.
Now what do you do?
Oh, yeah. That's a huge problem because if anybody out there has used, like, let's say Amazon Music,
Yeah,
that is included with Prime, and Prime
right.
used to be $90, and I could click on whatever album I wanted to listen to it from front to back, and choose the songs, the artist, the actual album, and listen. Now, if you go on there, it's full of ads.
Yeah,
It's like Pandora. It doesn't actually play the songs you ask it to. It just
right.
plays something that kind of somehow
Similar-ish.
represents ish that thing. And it's a terrible playlist. And it went from basically it was so good that everybody went, I don't need my CDs anymore. Who
Right.
needs CDs? I can listen to whatever I want whenever I want. Down to, well, now you have to pay an extra $20 a month or whatever it is to actually listen to the things you want to listen to rather than a curated playlist that you don't
Yeah.
like.
Oh yeah. That's
And
the same bait and switch that they did with cable TV. Then you don't
mhm,
have to have commercials. Then they introduced commercials and they went, oh well, satellite TV, you don't have to have commercials. And then have and then we
yeah.
have streaming TV. I'm like, oh
Yeah,
stop.
finally streaming TV, you don't have to, you can fast forward, you can skip the commercials, or they don't have them, and because you're
Right.
paying for each service, and then the services become more expensive, and Disney throws ads in there and
Right.
whatever it is. It's the same thing, and you can avoid that because that's coming with AI
Oh
for
yeah.
sure.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's okay. So and yes, it is. My assumption, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty confident, is they make it free or readily available.
Mhm.
We become very dependent upon it. It becomes intrinsic to our life, our jobs, our whatever. And then it's that incremental, just like satellite, just like cable, just like all the other ones is, oh, we're gonna need a little bit more money for that. Oh, we're gonna control how you access it, when you access it, what the results are. We're in and it just over time it just becomes less useful.
Yeah, it's like Facebook, cracking down on talking about animals. Like, it was at one point you could talk about just about whatever you wanted on Facebook, and then it
Right.
was like you can't talk about processing animals, or you can't talk
Oh,
about guns, or you can't talk about whatever it is. And they keep narrowing that down until it becomes basically useless.
Yeah.
And I expect AI to be the same way. But, there's options out there like versions of Llama or Olama that are,
Yeah.
what is it, Dolphin?
Yeah.
That is, somebody stripped all the restrictions off of it. So it tells you whatever you want to ask it.
Yeah. And yeah, you get to base the data set. And so you're like, here, this is it. What's up, man? Dude, that's awesome. Right on.
Yeah, that's awesome. We're glad to have you here. And we love talking about things that are a little bit different and living a little bit differently. So yeah, welcome. But yeah, I think being able to avoid those pitfalls and to start to figure out how to exit, just like everything else we talk about, it's how do you exit this system of control, but still use the benefits, that the convenience that it brings, because convenience is really the trap.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. And so, yeah, if you can just feed it all of your PDFs of all of your, favorite books, and you can, hey, borrow your buddy's PDFs and like, hey, let's put these together and make a really big one. Then you become a resource, not only what you're capable of in your own life, but you can become a resource to your whole community. Like, oh, hey, Ryan's got this, freaking little solar powered computer, post-apocalyptic, and but he's got it and it works, and it'll spit out information. It's like Wikipedia on steroids. You become like the resource for your community. And how awesome is that?
Yeah. And then they can just text me on Meshtastic.
That's right.
Get an answer.
That's a whole nother conversation I cannot wait to have is getting into Meshcore and Meshtastic and all that. That's wild.
So I took just kind of joking about being the resource for the community, right?
Yeah.
With ChatGPT, and I know we're not talking about online or cloud-based.
We're contrasting it. It's good. Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually took it and fed it a whole bunch of information, anonymized information.
Yeah.
And now I can give somebody a form, have them fill it out for homestead consulting. I'm not doing this, by the way. So if somebody sends me their information, they're not getting put on ChatGPT or something. But
what
if they wanted to, I could send them a link to my custom GPT agent, and they could feed it a form, and it would give them about 80% of what I already do as a homestead consultant.
Nice.
It's not on site. It's not seeing that stuff, but it can guide you away from bad ideas. It can help you set up what things you should do in what order based on like how I do it.
Perfect.
Yeah. And so it's kind of cool that I could send somebody that link and go, just, put this information in, and it'll spit out at least very close to what you would otherwise get from advice from me.
Well, and that's actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because that was one of the things I was talking with my mom, and we were talking about function stacking, and like, it's a lot to keep track of. I mean, as far as like what interacts with what and how, or the possibilities. And that's kind of what actually got me thinking about doing this topic, was like, oh, we could just have an AI that would spit that stuff out. And that's really where all this came from. I was like, oh yeah, we have AIs that can do that. And we could say, here, this is what I want to do. What will help me or hinder me? And
well, and the other thing with that is you can keep going back. So once it has that chat of, here's the things that are recommended, now you can go back and ask a question to clarify something, or to get more information, or to go, you know what, I decided I don't want to do that. Reorder this.
Yeah.
But to be able to pull up this thing that's programmed not to be sycophantic, not to, be a yes man, but to actually tell you bluntly,
you're the most brilliant ever.
Right. That's an excellent idea.
Excellent.
You should pursue that. But to, something that's really blunt and programmed to be so,
right.
To spit out that answer and to say, yeah, that will work. Or here's the considerations you should, here's the trade-offs between this and this. That can be really helpful.
Oh, absolutely. And if anybody who's watching has any questions about any of the stuff we're talking about, like if we're going too fast, just, tell us to shut up and, slow down. I was laughing.
Yeah, we're talking nerd here, so
exactly. My mouth tries to keep up with my brain. And so if I'm talking fast, I'm sorry. But if I slow down, I will lose my track of thought. Yeah. So, oh, that fly. Oh, I'm going to kill the fly. Hold on 1 second. I had this stupid horse.
We had a whole thing before we started the podcast with the fly going around. Did you get it?
I got him. He landed on my
Nice.
thigh. That's the last thing he ever did. All right. So where were we?
I think we were talking about, well, so I had mentioned an AI agent, but just the idea that you can have something that you can go back to help you function stack, to help you think through and reason
Yes.
through, and then hold that line of thought. Because as humans, we tend to forget about different parts and pieces of it. So we can have something that's custom built on our running on our own home system
Yeah.
that can spit out a list of, what's the next step, and maybe even do a bit of a deep dive into that next step instead of just the bullet point overview.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, yeah. Rick. Okay, so the one that I was playing with, for as far as a recommended lightweight AI, Olama did a I'm trying to remember how small it was. It was really
They had
small.
like a 0.7 billion.
I think that if I remember it, that's what it was. It was tiny. It was
It
so tiny.
hallucinates a lot in my
It does.
experience.
And so that's the caveat is it can get caught in its own loop. It can hallucinate and come and very confidently just lie to you. Uh, it's very confident though. It's like a lot of college students. Sorry. That was bad. Yeah, so Llama's got their small one, and then the one that you mentioned, Dolphin.
Now, Dolphin. Oops, did I do that? I think I did. Dolphin, in my understanding, is essentially that's a system. Like there's different AIs that are run through Dolphin.
Yeah, right. It's
to be the unedited or the
host of it or whatever. Yeah, where it's the interface.
Yeah. So Dolphin, in my understanding, is essentially the person system, whatever, that's stripping away the restrictions that were put on the AI by the compiling initial compiling system.
Well, the one that I was looking at, the Llama version I was looking at, was already from them was already stripped.
Okay.
It was not. What was their verbiage? I don't remember what their verbiage was.
Not
it
restricted.
Was non-restricted, I think was what it was. Yeah, and a lot of them are for what was it, research use or something like that. They like it's kind of like when you go and buy car parts, they're like for off-road use only. Like,
right.
Sure. I'm definitely not going to run this on the street. I mean, I'm definitely not going to run this. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. So Llama, if it needs the Dolphin, if I remember right, there is a version that does not require to be stripped. And then so like you could do the Raspberry Pi thing. It's going to be slow. It's gonna. If you got an old laptop, I usually like somebody's like, oh, I've got this old laptop. It's useless. I'm like, here, let me Linux it. It'll be fine. Just and that's exactly, it's like, this is the perfect use for it too. Like if you got an old laptop, like, hey, why not?
Yeah. Throwing Linux on it, whether you're using it for AI specifically or, I like to run, what do you call it? Pi-hole, which runs on an old Raspberry Pi. But again, speaking super nerdy here, but you can use just learning how to install Linux on a computer, which there's tons of tutorials about.
Yeah.
You can run all kinds of stuff on an old laptop or on an old computer that can be really beneficial to securing a network, running security cameras, running your own router, running your own AI, and running your own home server, things like that. Like I use StartOS on one of those mini computers. Yeah. There you
go. Go to use equipment or like a Goodwill or whatever. Most likely you'll find something like this for very, very cheap. Facebook Marketplace, whatever. Play with it. Like you're not going to hurt it. I mean, even if you brick it, there was $20. Like
I picked up one almost identical to what you're holding from Goodwill about 2 weeks ago. It had a
Okay.
2 terabyte NVMe hard drive
Dude,
or SSD.
that's worth money.
Yeah, and 16 gigs of DDR4, and a i7 processor in it.
Heck
I had to
yeah.
buy a $10 power plug or a power adapter,
Oh,
and
yeah, sure.
now it's running my StartOS server, which can actually run. So StartOS is, um, it's a home server, but you can actually run AI on it. It's just
Mhm.
pretty slow,
Yeah, right.
but it works.
Yep, and that's kind of the idea that I want everybody's like, "This is approachable, like, you can do it," and, if you're around, you're, in the Middle Tennessee area and you wanna swing by the shop and we can nerd out. I mean, I've got a buddy of mine brought me computer parts, I'm building him a computer, it's, sitting right there. I've got computers. I did this for fun. Like, this is and so, yeah, like, my daughter's running a Linux laptop, my wife's running on her Linux laptop. I've dual booted or triple booted most of my computers my entire life. Um, it's a good thing to know how to do, and not to be afraid of, because people are like, "Oh, Linux, you're the super nerd." I'm like, "Well, yes, I am, but that's beside the point."
Right.
You can do it. Really, you can. The new Linux OSs are so user friendly, so approachable. Mint
Linux Mint.
into
Yeah.
yes, that's
If
exactly.
somebody's doing this, I would say go with Linux Mint because
Yeah.
it's versatile. It's got like drivers up the wazoo. It'll
Yep.
run on just about anything.
Yep.
It's super simple to install. You can follow exact tutorials on YouTube, so you don't need to know why you're doing what you're doing. You can literally just go and follow a tutorial, and you can take old hardware or spyware, I should say, old hard spyware.
Yes.
It used to be Windows that
Windows.
barely works anymore,
Yes.
and you can turn it into a very, very usable system. And most people don't use anything other than their web browser anymore.
True. Yes.
So Ubuntu or Linux Mint with Brave browser installed on it,
Yep.
I mean you're totally fine. You can run anything you need on that.
Absolutely. Yeah, they'll have you build one of these. It's a little, flash drive that has the installer built into it, so I can take that, plug it into any computer, and I can upload and I used to do this in the hospital. I had Knoppix running off of one as this was a bootable drive, and so I could just boot right into any computer. You've got one too.
I've
Right?
got my little jar full of memory cards that have various distros of Linux, and then I've got my Raspberry Pi Zero
There you go.
W with Pi-hole on it, and
Heck yes.
all kinds of stuff
Well,
sitting on my desk.
yeah, so you take your old hardware and you run any of those distros, a distribution, a version of Linux, and then yes, hi mom.
So this is a whole new set of vocabulary for us old folks. Please define acronyms.
I,
We'll
I,
do
I
our
will
best
I will
to.
try. I will try. If there's a specific one, just yell at me. So and like I said, come by the shop and I can walk you through a lot of this stuff. I can make you the flash drive if you want me to. And then it's literally plug it into the computer, turn the computer on. It'll prompt you with everything and walk you through the process. And once you're in there, then we can start having fun. And then we can start loading some kind of an AI and building up a system that then is accessible, and you can go in there like your own personal Wikipedia and say, hey, when do I plant this? Hey, if I do plant this, what should I look out for? um and you can start asking it questions. But then we always want to double check everything, right? So we want to like validate how are you arriving at that conclusion, or you want to give it some feedback, like, okay, why are you saying that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One, I also anytime I'm using a chatbot, I'll say after I ask a question, ask me clarifying questions.
Yes,
So I'll
yes,
have it think through because a lot of times part of this is using things, being smart about how you use it. Because if somebody asks me as a homestead consultant a question, but I don't have the right context around it,
right,
I can spit out an answer,
sure,
but it doesn't mean it's going to be any good. If
Right.
somebody asks me, what time of year I should plant, if they don't tell me what zone they're in, well, if they're in zone 4 or zone
Right.
3 or they're up in Alaska, I'm like, well, that's very different than, and one part of Alaska is actually very different than another, right?
Right.
So,
I mean, or they've got a microclimate where they're at the bottom of a ravine where they have fresh water flowing through it constantly, and they're always, 15 degrees colder than the surrounding environment. Totally different than on a hilltop.
yep. So when you're working with a large language model or LLM, you need to you need to have it ask you clarifying questions and then think through what it spits out. And you may want to verify or check that in some other way as well, depending on how vital it is. But having it ask you clarifying questions will get you a much better response.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so, and like we said, like this doesn't require you to have a really big, beefy computer to do this. Now, if you do have a gaming computer or something that has a decent GPU, you're going to be able to get results a lot faster, like a lot faster. So there is something to be said for maybe this. Okay, not right now because the GPU market is just insane.
Yep.
The RAM market is just nuts. Like, don't be going out and building a computer so that you can do AI right now. Buying a stupid little broken or obsolete old computer, fantastic, mint, do it.
Yep.
Don't go spending a bunch of money on that. But they can consider like all of the possibilities, the potential. Like, you could use this as a medical resource. Like, you need help. You've got a friend who's having birthing pains, or you've got somebody who fell off the roof. You can use this potentially as to, like, I don't know anything about this. Let's ask the computer thingy that Jared set up.
Right. Or even just as a reference, the idea of, what page can I find this information on? Like, don't
Yes.
regurgitate all the information, just where can I find it in the book?
Exact and that I'm glad. Yes, because if we can at all possible, going back to the actual, resource, do that. Like if you can
Mhm.
say like, where did you get that information from? Cite your sources.
Right.
That will give you, it's like, oh, go to this page of this book or this page of this book or this page of that book. Fantastic. Now you have 3 potential resources that you can corroborate. This is good information, or maybe you got it off a little bit, but now you at least know where to look.
Right.
Oh, Kim, Chromebooks,
Not
no, they
technically, yes,
yeah,
realistically, no.
they don't have the internal hardware that's going to be able to support that kind of processing. That sucks
Well,
though because they're readily available,
yeah, they lock them down too.
and they
So
really do.
installing a secondary operating system on them it's not impossible, but it's
You
so
can jailbreak
difficult.
them, but it's a pain.
Yep. It's
It,
like something like some of them you have to open them up and jumper pins and do all kinds of crazy stuff too. It's not worth it.
yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
If you want to talk for a second, I'm going to grab something to show people.
Yeah. The other thing that, like, okay, let's say small engine repairs or large engine repairs. I mean, you could use this as a resource to how to, fix equipment that is broken. How we'd already mentioned, like how to plan for like food that you're growing, um, training. Let's say you're like, hey, I want to get physically fit. I want to have a physical fitness regime, like figured out and scheduled for my day. What's a good physical fitness or stretching or strength training or whatever it is you're going for? Having this be able to compile that data and say, hey, this is, from based off of this book, this would be a good, considering your age, considering your, current level of physical abilities, limitations, whatever, you might consider this, that, and the other thing. So what you got?
Uh,
Hey,
this is a little, they call it a Raspberry Pi. I guess it's not a hat, it's a screen.
yeah,
But something like this, you can take, can get a Raspberry Pi 5 pretty inexpensively.
Yeah.
You can stick it into something like this that's also quite inexpensive. And now I've got something that can sit on a desktop and it can spit out the answer. It can take a while doing it. And I can just come back and reference it when I want to, rather
Nice.
than having to, turn up a big screen all the time.
Yeah.
It's just a nice, quick, easy reference point. And so, yeah, I mean, you can outfit these computers however you want, but that's one of the really nice things about a Pi is you don't have to have all these separate components. You can get these components that just kind of clip together and
Yeah.
are really convenient.
They do. And then on the 5 that has the Ethernet, it has Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi already on board, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So then, I mean, gosh, throw a USB interface for mouse and keyboard or whatever. You're pretty much up and running.
Or a Bluetooth mouse
Or
and keyboard for that
yeah.
matter.
Yeah. Honestly. Yeah. That'd be
So
cool.
yeah, it's an easy way to, and the other nice thing about Raspberry Pi is there are, even though it's slower, there's so much information out there. And
Yeah,
it's going to
fun to
go
play
the
with.
way, if I use an HP laptop and somebody else who's showing me how to do something uses a Dell laptop, the button to press on boot might be slightly different.
Yep.
Whereas a Raspberry Pi is a Raspberry Pi. And if you've got a tutorial on how to install local AI on a Raspberry Pi 5, it's going to work.
Yes.
So, and
Yes.
it's going to be, you can follow it exactly without any guessing or troubleshooting really.
Yeah. And the Raspberry Pi, in my opinion, is probably the way to go. Cost effective. You don't have the extraneous other peripherals and stuff that isn't really necessary to the function of the AI, interface. It's a real clean and simple system, with very, very low, system resource that, their necessities. It doesn't draw much power. It doesn't
Yeah.
need much.
Well, and you were talking about like a solar powered, AI device. And of course you need a battery somewhere in that
True.
system.
And having the laptop, you got the baked in battery. I mean, like that's real simple. You just need
Yeah.
an inverter and you're golden.
Or most relatively modern laptops now take USB-C charger as well.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So now you can keep, a little battery pack
Yeah. Right.
topped off. Actually, this one is it's like a $7 super cheap battery pack.
Yeah.
And it's one of the few that I've found that does pass through charging. So you can charge it on one side and output on the other.
Oh, that is slick.
So I can slap that on here and have it charging via, direct solar or one of your little solar panels that you can get in the shop.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Then powering my Raspberry Pi during the day, it's charging, and at night it should be able to get it. There you go. Nice. Products on hand.
It's got USB port right there.
Yep. So that just goes in my USB port here, and then I've got my out that goes to my Raspberry Pi, and it passes through the charging system and charges the battery throughout the day. And so now I have something that will run my system all night long as well.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so you could, set your query and let it, cook all over the night, and morning, like, hey, there's our result.
Yep. And you can do the same thing with a laptop that has a USB charging option in it as well.
Oh, yeah, right. Yes. Yeah. That is absolutely awesome. Yeah. So hallucinations was definitely something, and this is one of those like trust but verify things. And so, yeah, whenever you're doing anything with any AI, whether it's online or local, trust, verify. Don't
trust.
Don't trust. Yeah, just don't trust.
Yeah. I mean, I think of it as a great starting point. It can also be really helpful for troubleshooting.
Yeah.
If you're knowledgeable enough to bring something to it and say, here's my problem, here are the things I'm noticing, or the patterns I'm noticing, what are likely reasons or causes.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of narrow those things down and actually talk with it to get to a point of maybe there's an understanding or a term that you need to fill something in. And oftentimes you'll get that by having that conversation and working through the troubleshooting with the chatbot.
Yeah, but unfortunately, the way I see most people utilizing AI is for things they don't know.
Hmm.
And so when you don't know something, you don't know whether you're being straight up lied to or not. So yeah, I always start off with something I'm incredibly familiar with,
Hmm.
just to test it to see is like, okay, is this going to be any at all useful information before I
Right.
even try? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and so there's this term called Gell-Mann amnesia, and
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's this idea of, you could be really knowledgeable in reading through the newspaper, and you're like, you're kind of a social, I don't know, a subject expert on a certain thing, and you read through the paper and you come across the thing you're an expert on, and you go, what they're telling me is total crap. That's not
Right.
right at all.
Right.
And you turn to the next page and it's like, economics, and you know nothing about economics, and you go, oh, wow, that's fascinating. Right.
Right.
Because you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And it's this kind of, it's like amnesia. You're like, you just saw a direct example of the newspaper giving you complete crap information. But then as soon as you don't know anything about it, you're like, oh, yeah, they must be right. They must be the experts.
Yeah. Right.
And you've got to approach AI the same way, as understanding that um, AI is a conglomeration of all the crap that's on the internet,
Yeah.
and a
That's
lot of it's
horrible.
not going to be good.
No.
Um, so verify it, and you also need to make sure that it's not just spitting out garbage answers to give you something. So, have it give you resources and links for where it's, references, and then click on the links. Make sure it's actually like referencing to something, because sometimes it hallucinates links just to not look stupid, I guess. I don't know.
Oh yeah. It will output something.
Yeah.
Right, wrong, or indifferent. It will output something. Yeah.
Yep,
Absolutely.
absolutely. So, yeah, be careful with it. Know the limitations, know how it's going to behave, and don't have Gell-Mann amnesia.
Right.
You know, sort it through, think it through, ask it questions, challenge it,
Yeah.
all those things.
Well, so okay, so this is an interesting dichotomy between the two. So static knowledge. So
Hmm.
in a offline system, it is a static knowledge
Yeah.
versus a dynamic. When you ask your home based AI something, you will get used to how it responds, and the way it functions. When you're using whether it's ChatGPT or Claude or Grok or whatever, they're constantly updating it. They're
Hmm.
constantly feeding it new information. You're part of that equation. You are actually, as you're interacting with it, you are modifying that system.
Including how it sees you.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's like cookies on steroids. And so as it's learning and changing, it's not consistent on how it responds, good or bad.
Hmm.
So having an offline system actually, in my opinion, um, because of the stability, because of the consistency, I think it'd be more useful in the long term versus a dynamic system.
Yeah. Well, and you get to know how it functions, and you're not going to have somebody in the background pulling the strings, saying, I don't know, the US is pursuing some war somewhere. I'm sure this would never happen. And anybody who, it programs the AI to never say anything bad about, this new war.
Sure.
Well, that can, if you understand programming language and how these things work, that can manifest itself in some very odd ways if you just give it this kind of like blanket, do
Yeah.
this simple command. That's going to roll through the entire structure of the system, and it might interpret one thing as something that it's not supposed to say or do, and
Yeah.
so it gives you garbage because it was been programmed to
Not to talk about.
inadvertently.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Oh,
Yep.
I had some friend of mine. Um, I haven't gone to check it myself, but she asked. I want to say it was ChatGPT. It was something about it, its result was basically, "There's no evidence that Charlie Kirk is dead. He's still alive," or something like that. And I'm just like, "I'm sorry. what?
Yeah, that's a little out there.
Yeah, I was like, I'm putting on my tinfoil hat now. What?
Yep.
What you saying there? Yeah. And so yeah, there's depending on yeah, exactly. Depending on what it's being fed and what it's being told to respond to certain, stimuli, certain, words, whatever, keywords. Yeah. So yeah, we can't necessarily no, we definitely can't trust.
Right. Well, and so the offline AI, at least at this point, even with some of the efficiencies and things that have come along, it's slow. So you need to run a model of the AI that has. We were talking earlier, and I think we skimmed over what people need to know about it, but we are talking about the number of parameters it has,
Oh, the
and
LLM, yeah.
yeah, and so like 0.7 billion is tiny. I don't know what modern chat GPT is, but it's what 100 billion,
Oh, it's
something
gotta
like
be
that,
massive at this
parameters.
point.
So you're looking at something that's just huge, and there's no way your home computer could filter through all those parameters. But just like if you take audio and you compress the audio down to a really tiny file, you'll start to hear all these little weird noises around it,
All the noise, yeah.
and certain instruments will just drop off entirely, and it'll get funky. That's what happens when you deal with a very small LLM, or a compressed um, low or small size LLM. Is it's kind of like compressing audio to the point where it becomes like it sounds weird, and maybe you can hear people talking, but not much more.
Yeah, so
Um,
yeah, so
that
so an LLM, and for, my mom and others, large language model. So, um, it's predict to text, right? It's like the odds of, after this word will follow this word in context of, and so the larger your large language model is, the more accurate your results are gonna be. And so, yeah, you might get a result that grammatically doesn't even make sense. Um, physically doesn't make sense. There's a yeah, it can get funky for sure.
yeah, but using something like that for look through my 10 PDFs that I've given you and reference the pages that I need for this thing, that can be much more helpful and much, generally speaking, much more accurate.
Yeah.
And then you can verify it because you're going to the pages to,
Yes.
you're looking in the book.
Yep.
That can be really helpful.
And that in my mind, that's like a fantastic use of AI, especially in the homesteading kind of community where it's becomes the search engine that we can use of our physical resources.
Mhm.
Because I don't have time to read all the books and memorize them and go, oh yeah, that's on page blah blah blah. Like I've got a good brain most of the time, ain't that good.
No. Well, and the time that it takes for us to read it, whereas we can plug it into this thing and go, go to town with it.
Yeah.
That's huge because that takes that mental load off of us. And nobody really remembers the things they need to from reference material until they need it.
Until they need, yeah,
Right.
right.
And
Like, oh yeah,
so,
I remember. Yeah.
yeah, you can read the, Carla Emery's, is that her name? Book on the Encyclopedia for Country Living,
Oh yeah, right.
and you'll remember just tiny bits of it. You're not going to remember, all the things you need to do if the your ewe is lambing and the lamb's coming out breech, right?
Yeah, right.
Um, so having to have something that can tell you where that is quickly. Indexes are great in the book, but you don't necessarily know which page or how much of that is important, and it's probably pretty pressing time wise. So if
Yes.
you can put 10, 20 books in there and have it give you, either spit out the specific information you need or tell you where to find the information you need, either of those are really beneficial.
Well, yeah, and then you're freeing up your own time. You're mentally freed up. You're like, okay,
Mhm.
it's taking care of that. It's going to find that answer for me. In the meantime, I can go and milk the goats.
Right.
So now you're doing two things at the same time. You're doing the research and still being able to be effective in your day to day life.
Yep. Yeah, I think there's a lot of great use cases for the local LLMs or AI.
Mhm.
I'm wondering if you've dug into it enough recently to say if there's some interesting use cases where you might be able to get it to do things almost as an agent, or is there anything like that, like things that we haven't necessarily talked about already that they can do?
I haven't done enough research for on the agent-based side of the equation, but I do see that as being where, "What's up, bro? Hey, you finally made it." That's
Nice.
awesome. I've got your computer here. Uh, um, but I do see that ultimately as being the direction that what we're talking about is gonna head,
Mhm.
because that agent is definitely that type of interface that we really, is gonna do the most work for us as far as, providing it with, a subset of PDFs of specific topics and go, "This is what I want information about. Give me, pages of each book that pertains to topic."
Yeah.
Uh,
'Cause what I'd really love, and I know this is not a thing yet, but if I could take a Raspberry Pi in a little package like this,
right?
and I could set that on my counter, and I could have some type of, operating system that had an AI agent that was local to me, that I controlled, that I didn't go out of my network,
Yeah.
that could, keep my calendar up to date, or that could, show me the weather or whatever without, without it being a wiretap in from Amazon,
Right.
who contracts with the NSA, by the way, um, into my
Not
house, right?
contract or subsidiary.
Whatever you wanna call it.
It's a front. It's all a front.
Yeah. Now,
Uh,
what is Google? Where'd their funding come from? And YouTube, which you're probably watching this
yeah,
on.
no, exactly. And we just got shut down. Yeah.
Hopefully, their AI agents don't recognize what we're talking about yet.
They haven't been good. I think somebody commented, oh, they were talking about Meta's AI is often on LSD. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Mhm.
It's stupid.
Now, Llama came out of, the Llama model came out of, Meta's crunching, didn't it?
I believe so. The original did.
Compiling.
Yeah, their original compiling. Oh, mom. Um, can you require it? And that would be where like the agent would come in. If you could build an agent that specifically that was part of what the output would be is this is the data and this is where it came from. Which yeah, maybe that's what I should work on. Maybe I should work on building a custom agent that we could predefine. Now I have another project. Gosh darn it.
Don't have
Just
enough yet, do you?
no, not at all.
Yeah.
Golly.
Yeah, I
Um,
think you at this point, you have to tell the AI to give you references,
yeah,
and then you have to check them
yeah.
and ask it, "Are you lying to me?" That kind of thing,
We just
because
assume.
there's nothing that really holds its feet to the fire. It's just doing kind of whatever it's been pre-programmed to do. Um,
And it's a sycophantic people pleaser,
mhm,
typically. They're just like, whether it's giving you like, "Oh, you're the smartest," or whatever, or like, "Of course I'll do that for you." Like, "Can you actually do that?" "No, you're right. I cannot do that." Like, "Then
right.
why did you say you could?" Yeah,
Yep. Yeah, so, in one sense, not really. You can't require it, you can ask it to, and then you
yeah,
still have to verify it,
but
at
then you
least
still
at
have to
this point.
verify. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so like as far as our systems go, our books, our primary sources, those are obviously going to be the top of that list. Below that, then that's where our AI comes in, where it can compile that data. Maybe it can bring multiple books and resources together in a new and meaningful way. But again, validate and verify. Um, but then we can still come back to that experience side of it. Like you said, your agent can do 80%, but you your experience, your eyes, your ears, your fingers know more than that AI agent ever will. And there's no way that that AI agent is ever going to be able to take your place.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got to think it through. That's on you to do the actual thinking and implementing. And so just like we were talking about the AI agent that I made that can do most of what I do, as far as recommendations, all it's doing is going, basically pull back a bit, think through your process and challenges people to think through what they're doing and what order they're doing it in, so that you don't start something that you don't put the cart before the horse, essentially.
Yeah.
And that's such a huge part of my job is helping people not start something that's going to keep them from doing other important things.
Yes. Right. Yeah. Um, I mean, yeah, because like a good, you might be able to use your AI to say, "Hey, I live in Middle Tennessee. Give me the possible emergencies that I need to be prepared for." And that it could probably spit out a pretty solid list of things. And then you could even take it a step further and go, okay, what do I need to do in order to prepare for those types of eventualities?
Mhm.
And it probably is going to spit out a pretty darn good list.
Yeah.
Um, that's a good resource, or a good utilization of the AI resource, whether it's a at home offline system, or you're using Claude or Chat GPT or whatever.
Right. Yeah, and so Michael's kind of bringing up
Oh, what do you got?
here the issue of what agency do these chatbots and things actually have, like where are they at legitimately, and I think there's reason to be concerned, which is why we're specifically talking about self-hosted AI that's not
Yeah,
not going to become conscious and take over the world,
yeah.
making to make what was the thing from, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, I think it was, where there was
Oh, the
an
the computer, the supercomputer, everything's 42.
well,
I don't know.
there's that, there's everything equals 42, but I maybe it was something another sci-fi thing, but it was quite a while ago, and the writer thought of this concept where this AI basically took over the production of everything
Oh.
and somehow got the idea that it needed to maximize production for efficiency for paper clips. So every all like basically it was making all its decisions to maximize the production of paper
Paper
clips
clips.
above everything and anything else. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, and a computer could easily slip into some stupid type of loop like that. Yeah, I could totally see that.
right. Yeah, you give it one wrong command and it topples everything, kind of like we were talking about before. And having your own self-hosted, I think we can be pretty confident in saying that my Raspberry Pi isn't gonna, become
The
conscious and
Terminator.
yeah, go Terminator. So I think being able to use something that's a valuable tool, kind of like the internet is a valuable tool, but it brings a lot of evil with it too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh, it
It-
can be very easily misused.
yeah, and it's being used for control. It's being used to spread things that we don't want spread. It can be used for a lot of bad things, but the genie's out of the bottle, and everybody who's listening to this, watching it, whatever, is using the internet.
Yep.
So, despite all of its evil and all of the bad things, I mean, man, they they named the many of the programs that these things that even just basic internet protocol run on are called demons,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I mean, there's I think there's a redeemed and appropriate way to use systems for good and to be aware of where they might be bad and realizing that ChatGPT or Claude or whatever um, can definitely go down a bad road, and trying to insulate ourselves from that
Mhm.
by doing things like local AI or other systems that help us still be able to compete and function in the modern world, but maybe with a most of ourselves out of the system
Exactly.
still.
One step removed.
Yeah.
That's it. Just one.
Well, and the other thing is, you have I don't know, I don't expect this, but you have a grid down situation and nobody has access to AI, but you have access to AI.
Well, yeah,
even if it's
exactly,
slow.
and that's kind of the idea of the whole grid or offline systems is that you are no longer dependent upon access. Um, okay, let's go to the Amazon example. You pay for a movie on Amazon. You're not. You're paying for access to that movie because
Mhm.
it's not guaranteeing that you ever have that you're just having access. And it's not even for ad infinitum. You're talking access for a duration
Yeah, until their contract runs out,
until the
essentially.
contract runs out. Now you have no access to the thing that you paid for, you owned, but you didn't own. Well, if you have an AI, hosted locally, you are going to have access to that forever because it's yours and you have it. Whereas, okay, well, what if you had to have a license to access the internet?
Mhm.
Now AI is useless to you because you don't have access to it.
Right. Yeah, and that's a really valid point because they're pushing for that,
Yeah.
right? It's, this the child age verification to protect them online thing
Mhm.
is it sounds great on the surface. You're like, "Yes, now kids can't access this type of site." Well, they can still access it, but now we all need some type of verification, driver's license for the internet, so absolutely everything we do is tracked and traced from the start to the end.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, California effectively just banned Linux because they
Really?
they they said that all at the operating system level, we need validation and verification of identification. Linux is specifically designed to not have that. That is not
Mhm.
baked into their system. Whereas, obviously, Apple and Windows and all the rest of them, they're like, oh yeah, sure. Um,
We'd be happy to. Thank you very much.
And it's a stupid, law because like who's gonna police that and how are they gonna enforce that? Like how? How is
Right.
that even possible? Like that you're just being stupid and sanctimonious. Like don't
Well, and it comes down to the 2 questions I try to ask myself and I try to teach my kids, which is, um, first ask, "Is it moral?" Right?
yeah.
So, is it moral for me to use a computer that doesn't say who I am? Yeah,
Mm,
of course it is. And then 2, what is the consequence? Right?
yeah.
So, if it's illegal, but the consequence is a fine, that means it's legal at a price, right?
Yes. Yes.
Or,
Right.
if it's illegal and jail time is the consequence, well, that factors in a little differently. But if it's moral but illegal, but there's no real consequence like this law in California, just
Yeah, right.
use Linux,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Ignore it. I'm not giving any legal advice here, but
No.
no, but who's gonna come after you for using Linux in California? I mean,
Right.
yeah, but of course, they're trying to move towards stopping you from having anonymity. And what if you wanna ask a question to the search engine or chatbot or whatever, where you're like, "I'm not doing anything wrong, and I don't plan to do anything wrong,
But I want to know.
but I wanna know about this thing."
Yeah.
And,
Right.
being able to do that locally is important, even if
Yeah.
it takes you a little while longer to get an answer on it.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, so now with legislation that potentially allows or I don't know if it forces the AI companies to retain all search parameters ad infinitum or it just encourages them, whatever. It doesn't really make much difference because they're gonna. So now all of that's admissible in court. So, oh well, Ryan, you searched out, this, that, and the other thing. What were you doing? Like,
Right.
like the thought police? What?
Well, and the other thing is what we know of totalitarian governments and whatever else, even just police or what are they called, district DAs, district attorneys,
Yeah.
who are trying to like build a case. Anything that's online, they can take that information and they can put together a picture by removing
Yeah.
what they want, the context that they don't want, and putting only the things they want. And then judges are generally more than happy to withhold exculpatory evidence. So you're kind of screwed if somebody wants to take that data from an AI set or a system that you've been plugging in.
Right.
I mean, imagine if you're writing a a book, like you gave the example before. I'm writing a book where I want to know how to break into a car.
Yeah.
Well, you know, if I'm writing this book where it's a spy novel and I'm looking up all these things, well, you could create a pretty interesting looking case if you could remove all the context.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, gosh, there was a case, I want to say it was probably in California. A guy broke into a shopping mall, fell through the ceiling and broke his legs. Sued the shopping mall for it not being a safe environment. The judge ruled that it was not admissible to inform the jury why he was in the attic, that he was
Right.
breaking in, that was not, nope, nope, that has nothing to do with it. Like, how is that not pertinent information?
Right.
So yeah, I can absolutely see, and there is evidence that that is already in place. So yeah,
Yep. Yeah, and so just keep in mind that as you're using, whether you're using Google or, you know, an AI agent online or whatever else, your everything that you're doing is it's there, it's logged, it's there forever, and it's back searchable once other laws are put in place. So, you know, even if it's not legal for your local DA to use it now, maybe it will be down the road. Or
right.
um, so, which leads me to another thing. You
Yeah,
know, there's kind of an in between what you're talking about and these true cloud-based track everything type systems,
yeah,
and that's that. Let's see, it's Brave. If you use the Brave browser,
yeah,
there's an option to use the Tor. Like a, it will auto
yeah.
connect to Tor for you. So,
Right. Yeah, you can go
if you want to,
incognito, and then you can go incognito with Tor.
correct.
Yeah.
And when you do that, then you go to the Brave search side and they use, I don't remember if it's Gemini or Claude, but they use one of these bigger systems
I want to say it was
for
Gemini,
their,
but yeah,
yeah, for their AI search. And so now you're on Tor, you've layered yourself on Tor on a Brave browser, and you're just doing a search and it's giving you an AI result, but you can actually chat with it. So you can ask follow-up questions and things, and it spits it out fast,
so
gives
you're not going to
pretty good
have
answers.
the cumulative catering to your it's going to be session based.
Yes.
But over the course of that session, you would be able to really define and work with the criteria. So that yeah, that's a good, yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
workaround. I like that.
So that way you can be anonymous. It's not going to associate those questions and those in that chat with you
Sure.
because you've layered yourself out of the system so many ways. Um, so it's not going to be searchable for you. Of course, don't do anything stupid with it, but it's kind of that go between where you might not be quite ready to set up your own system, or your own system is slow or
Sure.
has low parameters, and you still want to use a uh, some type of um, artificially intelligent system to look things up.
Sure.
That's one workaround that can be pretty simple. And it sounds a little complex when I try to explain it through audio, but it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward if you were shown how to do it.
Yeah. 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 That is a really good, simple way. Um, Shoot, I think that's about all that yeah. I mean, AI is not a replacement for resilience. That was my catch for this one. Like, is a tool that amplifies capability, just like
Yeah.
everything else. It amplifies. Equipment amplifies. It does not. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you give one person a nail gun and the materials, and they'll build you something amazing.
Yeah.
And another person will cut their arm off and put a
Absolutely.
nail their hand to a board. Like, you know, a tool is a tool, and a tool can be deadly or it can be extremely useful. And
Yep.
it's up to you to make sure that you're using it in such a way that it's useful and not deadly.
Yep. Yeah. Whether to you or somebody else around you.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, same with a car, right? Cars are great. They get us places we need to go. They transport material. They make modern life feasible, but they can also be extremely dangerous and need to be used with caution.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, gosh, yeah, a couple 1,000 pounds ripping down the road.
Yep.
Exactly. Mike's got it. Capacity to help or harm. That's everything. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So, Jared, did you have any other kind of points on your write up
Yeah,
that you
I was
want
just
to
going
go over?
through it, and I think I hit pretty much everything. Yeah, I
Cool.
think we're good.
The other thing you can throw into these, because we didn't talk about this, is like repair manuals.
Oh yeah, yeah. When you stepped away, that was actually what I was talking about. Was
Oh, okay.
doing like
Yep.
small engine repairs and
Yep.
whatever. Because yeah, I mean, like aside from like like we talked about medical and survival and homesteady kind of things, but like yeah, like how do I replace the carburetor on my small block Chevy? Like, well, you just take the bolts out anyway. Um, But if you've never done it before, then yeah, you really it's nice to have the tutorial. It's nice to have the exploded diagram go, look, this is where the
Mhm.
bolts are. This is where they go. Don't screw this one on, in this place because this bolt's this long and this bolt's this long. And if you put this one in this spot, you're going to punch straight through your intake manifold. Don't do that. Because everyone uses a impact driver to and
That's faster
it's faster.
until it's not, and you have to take the whole engine apart.
Then it's expensive. So yeah, no, you're right. Absolutely right. Yeah, repair is a perfect example of a good use for an AI chatbot
Yeah.
type.
I mean, if I can dump a manual this thick into it and go, where's this information?
Yeah.
That could save me a ton of time.
Well, yeah, can you imagine like you get if you took the Chilton's manual or whatever manual for every one of your vehicles, yours specifically,
Mhm.
it's not going to have to go searching through the entirety of the internet to find like no, it's like I know it's going to be one of these, and you
Right.
asked a question about that one specifically, so it's going to that book. It's
Yep.
going to be way faster. It's going to be way easier for your offline system to be able to query and retrieve.
Well, and I bet so there's we haven't really talked about this, but there's a couple of different sites. One of them I think is called Ocean of PDF.
Oh
They're
yeah,
hard to find, but they have tons and tons of PDF reference material.
there are a
Some of it
lot of scam
copywritten.
sites out there that also host PDFs that you
Yeah.
will get a virus. You will. Don't.
Yeah, you gotta be really careful about it.
Very
I'm trying to think of how to express that to people, but because I'm not gonna, like, put a link in the description or
right.
something for it. But there are genuine sites. You do have to be careful because PDFs or fake PDFs can carry virus stuff. But, also, on eBay, if you're looking for a manual, a lot of times you can buy a PDF version of it
Yeah.
at a very good price. Just make sure you're buying from a reputable seller.
Yep. Just like
Um,
everything. I mean, yeah.
yeah.
And then, yeah, once you have that PDF, man, then now and we've talked about that. Now you're a resource to your community. Anyone else who's got a, 93 Impala, hey, I've got a service manual for that. Cool.
Yeah. Well, and even if I wanna, let's say, throw the permaculture design manual in there,
Yeah.
and I can say, well, what are the extremes on slope that I can add a swale?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
Sure. Yeah.
yeah, I can spit that out and I can verify it if I need to, but it can be really handy so I don't have to. I might even know roughly where that is in the book, but maybe it's not consolidated in a way that is helpful to me.
Sure.
And that can be really helpful to use it to consolidate information.
Hmm. Oh, Mom had a question. So yeah, you can scan the page in like Adobe or something like that and make a PDF. It'd be a slow process. And it is difficult to make it, searchable and all that. It is absolutely possible, but it would be a very slow process. Yeah,
Yeah, if you can get it from another source, I would.
yeah.
Um, you can also there are phone programs now that
Mhm.
will de-distort and, you just keep taking a picture of each
Yep.
page, and
Uh,
it'll stack them all together in a,
what's the app I
uh
use? Tiny Scan. Tiny
okay.
Scanner, is a good little, they have a free version, and if you buy the pro version, and like maybe it doesn't do a watermark or has limitations on how many pages it'll do. But yeah, there's definitely programs that'll do that.
Yep, for sure. But yeah, again, it does, some of the programs will actually figure out what the text is, and some of them just can't.
Yeah, most of the time it's just basically a picture of
Mhm.
the text, not actually searchable text. You might have to run it through a secondary program that actually looks at it and interprets it and figures out but
And then you're back to a cloud-based
but then you're
program
back
in most
there.
cases.
Yes. So if at all possible, yeah, find an actual, authentic original PDF of the, yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Cool. Well, did you have anything else, sir?
I think that's it. I think we've kind of covered it from a high level for people to hopefully understand it. We didn't miss things because of nerding out too much. But if anybody has questions while we're kind of wrapping up here, feel free to leave those in the comments. And of
Heck
course,
yeah.
we appreciate everybody who's showed up to the live, all the great comments, some weird suggestions that we didn't put up.
You saw those, did you?
I did see those.
I'm like, what is going on here?
I'm not sure who that is.
I just ignored them.
Yeah, I figured we could. Anyways, yeah, if people have questions, throw them up. And Jared, do you want to tell people what you do and why they
Sure.
should care?
I can. And if anybody does have suggestions or thoughts for future shows, shoot me or Ryan a message on, Facebook or email or whatever. So in the interim, I am Jared Wilson. I own Resilient Living. Resilient Living is a physical store as well as an online store where we sell emergency preparedness equipment, from knives to freeze-dried foods, a whole plethora of books covering a whole lot of different topics, a lot of what we talked about today. Ammunition, firearms. I am now actually, an actual firearms dealer. And so, yeah, if you ever are in the Middle Tennessee area, I'm right on the corner of 111 and Hodges Ferry Road. So that's halfway between Sparta and Spencer. Yeah, right on 111. Stop by the shop. I'm open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 in the morning to 6 at night.
Cool.
It's me.
Yeah, and you should stop by. Jared is an absolute wealth of knowledge. So
you're one to say. You're the one. You've forgotten more about permaculture than I'll ever know.
Well, there's a lot of things that you know a lot more than I do about, and your researching skills are second to none. So if people need help, you should definitely stop by.
That is what I love doing. I've been geeking out. There's been a couple people come in the last week or so, and they're like, "Hey, I want information about this." I'm like, "Oh, sweet. I'll get back to you."
Yep. I believe Kimberly is moving to the Tennessee area soon. So yeah,
right on.
Look forward to meeting you too. My name is Ryan Steva. I am the homestead consultant at thehomesteadconsultant.com. For the most part, I put out content on YouTube. I put it other places too, but that's where you're going to really find everything I do. Or thehomesteadconsultant.com. You can see more about how I help people set up homesteads and all that. I'm hoping to put a new section on my website, letting people know about various activities, things that are happening. If you're watching this, the few people that are at this point, I'm doing a swales workshop this weekend. So on Saturday, the 11th? Yeah. I'm doing it at 9 a.m. out in Hartsville, Tennessee. If you want to learn how to put permaculture, swales, and earthworks on your property, that's what I'm going to be teaching, all the way from classroom to hands-on. It's nice. A $50 course. So if you're around and want to be a part of that, I'd love to have you out there. We've got a few seats available still.
That is awesome. Yeah, that is one of those things that you may not know what a swale is, and that's okay. But suffice it to say, it's a means of keeping the water in the earth and making it useful and available to the plants. It's a great resource to be able. So if you can, heck yeah, hit that up.
Yeah, and if you don't know what they are, we'll cover that. We'll cover the why to, why not to, what they are. Everything will be covered. It's a pretty inclusive class, and you can start from the very bottom and learn it. Or if you already know some, you're going to walk away with the skills to actually put them in.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, it has been a wonderful stream, and y'all have been commenting like crazy, and we appreciate that so much. If you can like and share, subscribe, do all the things, send it to your friends or your enemies, whichever. And we will catch you all next week, next Tuesday at 7 o'clock. All right.
Awesome. Have a good night, everyone.